Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Kerfuffle Showcase, and I am delighted today to have Nellie Barover of Art Division with us. How are you, Nellie? You okay?
Hello, Simon. I'm very well, thank you, and hello to everyone watching. It's nice to be here.
Great. You are demonstrably very happy, whilst the rest of the country's in a bit of a misery. So
I am very happy because I tell you why I'm happy. Actually, I haven't put makeup on for probably about 5 or 6 months, so I was very happy to have a reason to do my hair and then put a bit of makeup on today.
So, yes. Normally it's only at the weekend, but I make a special occasion for this.
Yeah, I can see your hair is all done up as well. So, yeah, so good.
You know what? The reason I'm smiling, Nellie, is because I was a bit smug and I managed to get in for I got a hairdresser's appointment today just before lockdown. So I'm feeling like I'm going to be able to go into lockdown, comfortably in the next few weeks.
That's good. I was going to ask because normally I've seen you wearing a hat, so it must be a. Oh, there you go. Yes.
If the hair becomes unmanageable, I'll do it. Nellie, we're going to talk today a bit more detail. This is obviously us wanting to introduce you to the audience as much as anything. The title, though, today, which I'm really excited about, is how estate agent and letting agents should tackle digital marketing in 2021, plus the 3 most important assets to focus on. So that's relevant at the best of times, but it couldn't be any more relevant now, could it? Where we're going into a period of lockdown, you are going to have a period where you can actually, work on the business, strategize for what you're needing to do, as you would typically tend to do at the end of a year anyway, when it quiets down. But I think more so now than ever, isn't that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we started discussing over the past few days with my colleagues is, how is this lockdown going to be any different to the previous lockdown? And to be fair, I don't think from a business perspective it's going to be that different. I think we are going to see a quieter period, which in a way is a great opportunity for business owners to stop, reflect, and think about their strategies. What is it they want out of 2021? Because when things go back to probably never going to be normal, but let's use that word normal, I think that those who have actually invested in their marketing assets that are going to see significant increase in inquiries, which is what happened with a lot of our clients after the previous lockdown. So we had literally a pause of especially sales inquiries. And when things started moving forward, the numbers that they started attracting were far greater than any previous period that they've had. We had data comparing, for example, September this year to September last year. In some cases, they're over 30-40% increase in instructions and inquiries across the board. So that's phenomenal. So I think agents generally shouldn't worry about the fact that there's going to be a quieter period, as long as they're prepared for a busy period, which will come after that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter really where the eyeballs are, whether they're in your office or on the website, just as long as they're there in general would be the rationale there, wouldn't it?
Yes, exactly. And I think that unfortunately things are not going to change very quickly going forward. So COVID is here to stay for some time. God knows what else is going to come in 2021. I think generally everyone, but everyone needs to be prepared to work digitally, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think I've seen a lot of agents who very quickly adapted and are doing exceptionally well without having to go to their offices. Things are now done digitally, and actually people are comfortable with that. Buyers, tenants, vendors, landlords, they're all more receptive to dealing with things that way. And I genuinely, because we used to work in an office, and most of my interactions with customers, especially when it comes to strategy planning, was face-to-face. I've only done Zoom calls since March. And I think everyone's embraced it so much that I don't see the need of actually having to be in an office anymore. It's changed so much just in the space of 5 months.
And I think the big mistake people are making, Nellie, isn't it, is that actually they came out of that first period. Obviously, it was all bubbling. The market was bubbling and hot and everything else. And they made the mistake that actually things weren't going to change that much. We're kind of getting back to how it was there, and actually, you only have to see those businesses that have really embraced it, like you just said there. This is what the public want. This is what, or at least a big percentage of the public want, to be able to do it because it's simply more convenient, isn't it?
That's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head. It's convenient for people. So if I can have someone valuing my house without actually coming into my house, I would prefer that. If I can have 3 people do it that way without physically having to show them around, that's better for me. If I can view properties without physically going to this address, it saves me time for travel. It's not really a very pleasant experience anyway. And maybe I can only physically go and see the ones that I have shortlisted as my top 2, top 3. But I think that digital is here to stay. So estate agents really need to embrace it more in 2021 than ever before.
And well, we're getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we? We're getting ahead of ourselves. So, Nelly, give us a bit of your background so that we can obviously understand a little bit about yourself and then obviously where Art Division came from.
Yeah, so I've got 20 years experience in digital marketing. I have worked with estate and letting agents for over 15 years now. So the core of what I personally do is I help estate and letting agents or business owners strategize their digital marketing. So extracting exactly what goals they want to achieve and planning, mapping the steps, step by step of what they need to do in order to achieve those goals. I have a team behind me. About 70% of our work is digital marketing. So we do, as a team, we do asset creation. So we build websites for estate agents and we do a lot of content marketing. So we plan and write blog articles. We do email nurturing campaigns. We work on Facebook campaigns as well as Google. Those are the main 2 channels that we focus on because at the moment we're noticing that those are the 2 that work the best with regards to lead generation. So the ultimate goal with all of our clients really is to grow their businesses. And to do that, we use digital marketing. So that in a nutshell is what we do.
Well, that's really tight, isn't it? So you're covering all aspects there of as you said, marketing, digital marketing there, so that people can just do they have to take all elements that they do that you offer, or can they just pick and choose the bits that they need at the right time?
Well, with us, it's a little bit different in that we don't sell PPC or SEO or Facebook marketing. We start with the goal. So if someone comes and says, I want more landlords, I want to attract more landlords to my letting agency, we look at what assets we need to create, what messages we need to put out there, where are those landlords, and how can we reach them? What channels do we need to use to reach those landlords? So in a way, it doesn't matter if you're using Facebook or Google or LinkedIn or whatever you're using, whatever is relevant for that moment in time for your audience. Our campaigns are based on the audience that we're going after. So if a landlord campaign requires a Google and Facebook working together and an email nurturing campaign, then that's what we will be offering and discussing.
Okay. And how did Art Division come around then, Nelly? What was the history behind the business?
Well, our division came around a very, very long time ago. It sort of started from almost like a college project in 2001. And we started more of a design agency. So back in the day, the web was very different. So the websites we used to build were HTML and there was no digital marketing in the way we do it now. So we used to do a lot of graphic design stuff, logos and brochures and things like that. So the business has evolved a lot over the years, and really my personal passion is marketing. I am a marketer to my core, and so the business evolved over the years because of that drive. Also, I have a great passion for property. I'm a landlord myself. I love the whole sort of investing in property, and I read a lot about it. So the 2 sort of made sense for me as an area. So I'm not just going out there promoting agents or suppliers to the industry. I'm very passionate about the property industry as a whole.
Cool. And I think we're going to be joined here. We're lucky enough to be joined by one of your... Hello here, Azim. How are you? You okay?
Hi. How are you guys?
Yes, very well. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. I'm sorry, I'm always overstretched and underpaid and all of that. So I'm quickly got on, finished off another call and walked straight in and quickly logged on as quickly as I possibly could.
You look very smart. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I thought I'd make an effort for once. I think some of the other videos I've sent to Nelly, I don't quite look as trim, but I thought I'd make an effort this week.
As in, you've chosen the exact wrong one to bother doing up. Look at this. I'm prop tech. T-shirts, it's caps. You don't have to worry. But thank you very much for taking the time out. I mean, basically, we should explain here. Azim, I believe you've been a client of Nelly's now. Was it since you were saying, Nelly, from about the time of the first lockdown? Was it?
Yeah, since about March.
Yeah, that's right. We came across Nelly back in March. We provide various solutions. So we've got an estate agency, a property management company, and we do lettings where we guarantee rent to landlords whether the property is occupied or empty. And when the whole lockdown started to be enforced in February, I think it was, we obviously had an issue where we needed to try and ensure we continue business as best we could, given that we couldn't let properties on the working professional market or sell any properties because of all this distancing. And that's when Nelly came in, and she was really helpful with finding solutions where we could continue taking on empty properties on the guaranteed rent service. That's a slightly different service that we provide, where we guarantee rent to landlords whether the property is occupied or empty, but we have contracts with central and local governments housing people on temporary accommodation. And that side of the business could continue even during the lockdown, because unfortunately you still had to house the homeless. And Nelly was great, and the team, they came up with really innovative ideas. They get digital marketing. They're really easy to work with. They're always available. And I think the really important thing is that they don't just come up with an idea and just do it as such. They'll come up with a strategy. There'll be consistency. They'll action and implement the idea as well, which is what we've worked with a lot of marketing agency over the past 10 odd years. And what we found, a lot of them come up with great ideas, but the execution's not there. And the great thing with Nelly and the team is that the execution is there. But not only that, going on from the execution is the analysis of how the marketing is going, and then how that particular proposal or how that particular project should evolve over time. So they came up with an idea. We're using Facebook marketing, and we created a landing workshop and a video and a landing page and stuff like that. It's helped me to get a bit of confidence and experience with videos. I think Nelly will admit as well. From my first video to hopefully where I'm at, it's a lot smoother and better. But the great thing is that as things evolve over time, they come up with ways to continue to refine, or if something's not working anymore, they'll be the first to say, okay, guys, you need to stop with this now. Let's look at the next thing that we're looking to do, or the next way to continue this evolution. And I think that's really important, because it's an all under one roof service. And I'm trying to hold back a little bit on the praise for Nelly, because whilst they're great, I want to keep them hungry as well. I
want to say they're too good.
I don't want the invoices coming in at another 10 to 15% more, because we're worth it.
I love that. We have that issue with so many suppliers where we're trying to obviously get reviews out of them, and they say, you know, I really love this company, but I don't want to tell them too much because I'll get the old price increase.
And the other thing I'll admit as well, and they've been chasing me for a long time, poor guys, to get the video done. And I don't want to encourage their services too much, because I don't want our competitors to latch on to their methods, which we're developing. But anyway, it's a small world, and we will try our best to fight.
I think you'll find a way of staying different to your competitors anyway.
I certainly hope so.
Azim, there's a few things there that really, and we don't want to hold you for too long, and really appreciate you jumping on.
I'm free.
Cool. I think what's really interesting there and really resonated is sometimes you can be dealing, whether it's on the website side of things or with the marketeers, these can be some of the most talented people and businesses we've seen out there. But actually, when they don't get it, you know, when they don't get the understanding, the empathy of the industry that we're in and our specific challenges, it just feels like it takes an eternity. Whereas I'm guessing from what it seems like you're saying here, because of Nelly and the team's, you know, experience of this, they will get it like that, and it feels like it will be a much more productive process working with a business like that. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. I think the really important thing, the thing that at the moment has differentiated them from their competitors, is that a lot of marketing agencies, what they do is they have a product or they have something, and what they do is they try and make it work for your business. So effectively, they may have a set of 10 or 15 different templates or different designs which they've used or implemented or worked and used with other clients. And what they'll try to do is shoehorn that to us. But what Nelly and the guys have done and the team is they've looked at what we do, how we work, how we operate, and what we would like to do, and they've worked out a bespoke strategy for us using obviously the methods and the techniques and everything that they know are tried and tested.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's the best of both worlds, where you've got the fact that it's a bespoke campaign, that it's tailored to our business, that it sells the parts of the business that we think we're good at, but it's not so much where you're just forcing it that, okay, this is what you're doing. No, you just have to keep plugging away. If it's not working, they'll be the first to sit down and say, okay, and Daniel's particularly good at that, where he loves to analyze things and puts things onto spreadsheets, and he'll then look at what's working, and he'll be the first to suggest that, okay, look, guys, I know we could potentially make money on it, as in our division could make money on continuing this, but it's not working for you guys anymore. It's run its life cycle. Now what we need to do is the next thing and the next stage. And they know their stuff. They really do know their stuff in terms of the digital platforms. And one of the other things that we were really struggling on is how to use social media and maximize our presence on social media, because property businesses are very difficult to market on social media. When you look at the main platforms being used for a lot of companies, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter less so, but it's very hard for a property business to use those platforms because we're not impulse purchasing. People are not impulse purchasing. When you want to sell or let your home, it's not an impulse thing. You're trying to use the information and find a company that is proven, tried and tested, that you're confident in working with. And that's what I think Nelly and the guys have done really well to maximize their exposure, use those platforms in the best way to generate the traffic, and then help us to develop methods and techniques to help convert those leads or that traffic into potential leads and then landlords and vendors.
That's really interesting. And I think one of the other things, look, none of us want to be going into this second lockdown, but actually it's particularly timely talking to you, because if that's where you discovered Nelly previously, I'm imagining if we think back to that period, you'll have been thinking, God, people are only going to be able to see us essentially from the website. So it's vital that we have the best possible exposure on there. And of course, there's going to be a lot of other people in that boat at the moment. They've probably come out of, obviously, when the property market started again in June, couldn't believe how robust the market was and bounced back. They definitely will have had, I've got to fix my website on their list, but just haven't had the time and opportunity to do it. They're going to be in a bit of a tight spot at the moment, aren't they? Yeah.
And I think, again, the really great thing about Nelly and the guys is that they work. Whenever you want to achieve a goal, and we're quite similar in that you think that, okay, if ever you want to achieve a goal, you first have to look at what you want to achieve and work backwards. What a lot of marketing companies do is the opposite. They look at just the where they're at and say, right, this is what you need to do, and then let's see what happens. Whereas a website is a great example, because we had looked at our website and thought perhaps it needs to be revamped, but let's leave that to one side. And when we started working with Nelly with the landlord workshop campaign, what we found is that they actually understand digital marketing. So we then we refreshed our website with them and created a new website. And the really important thing is that they understood the goal. They understood what it is we're trying to achieve. And then that's really important today's day and age, because when you work backwards to create a campaign or to create a website, you've got to understand what the goal is, to then provide the right content, to get the right structure, to then have the right website. It's not as simple as you just plug in a website, plug it in, put your branding on it, and off you go. So I think where we found Nelly to be quite unique is that a lot of the content is bespoke. It's tailored for our business. And I think that's really important. If you're looking, or anyone listening to this or watching this is looking at making the most of now, using this period to revamp, refresh, the content side of things is quite important for digital marketing. Now, I don't want to say too much about all the techniques and everything that we're doing, But I think that's really important for anyone that wants to try and now look at what to do next. It's very important to work with people like Nelly because they understand, they get it, and they create the right thing for you, and it works from start to finish. And I think that's really important.
So it's a question for both of you, but let's start with you first, Azim. Why do you think it is the case that so many established estate agencies struggle with digital marketing?
I think I know estate. I mean, we went away from, say, leaflet dropping. We haven't dropped leaflets for years now, and a lot of agencies, they think that the main thing about marketing is to get the valuation. They think that, okay, what we use marketing for, what we need to do is just get the valuation.
Yeah.
A lot of agencies, whilst we are great at property and we understand property, we don't perhaps understand marketing as well as perhaps we need to. And that's where we become overly focused on generating valuations in that, okay, I've sold a road, I need to get out and leaflet drop 100 properties today. Or I need to physically put leaflets in. Or my website just needs to be loud and brash and show my logo and show what the business is and where it is. And we sort of miss the trick in terms of understanding how it is we're able to capture the audiences that we need to capture in today's day and age. And again, I'm trying not to go into too much detail, but I think that the hidden trick is to understand the journey of a potential client before it comes to the point of them booking an evaluation.
So I think what I'm saying there, with again, we'll just keep it amongst ourselves for the moment. But one of the biggest problems is there, isn't it, with marketing is, and agents in particular, you're just looking for the appraisal lead, as you said.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're looking for the deal that's being done today, once it goes beyond this week, that's it, they're tire kickers, let's forget about this. If I'm gleaning what you're saying right here, you're thinking much more holistically about, okay, how do you build trust? How do you build brands? How do you get that trust so over a period of time you become the come-to brand for that person? And it's a question of, if they'll only come to yourself, or at least they might just see one other agent as a sanity check. That's that sweet space you get to when this is done right, isn't it?
Yeah, that is 100%. As I touched on earlier on, our business is not impulse. So you've got to have a presence in the areas, and all we can try to do is ensure that we get the opportunity to go and do an appraisal. Now, how do you get to that point? That's where the Nelly comes in, and that's where the digital marketing is so important. And you're 100% right. Our business is about trust and about presence and reputation and all of those sorts of things. It's not so much about having a trendy product that's there that you just buy for 50 quid, and then if you don't like it, it's only 50 quid. Here you're paying 1%, or you're paying 2% or 1.5%, whatever the figures may be to sell, and you're potentially paying 10 to 12 to 15% per month of your rental income, or 0% commission if you're on the guaranteed rent. So it is fundamentally about having a presence and building trust. And you hit the nail on the head. It's about how is it you get into somebody's presence so that when they do, it may be 6 months time, it may be 12 months time, it may be 3 months, but at least they think of you when it comes to then the point of having an appraisal.
So I mean, Nelly, just on that point then, thanks, Azim. And Nelly, so why do you think it is? What other elements do you see why traditional agencies struggle with digital marketing so much?
I mean, I'm very pleased to hear what Azim just said, because obviously all the work is definitely coming to fruition. But it is very much.
Nelly, it would have been really awkward if he'd said something bad there.
I know. I haven't paid him. I haven't.
Daniel, you can let go of my leg now. I've said it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really down to strategy. And I speak with a lot of business owners on a daily basis often. And the one thing that's in common between all of them is that they have absolutely no clear understanding of what they want to achieve and who is their ideal customer. And in order for a marketing campaign to be successful, you need to start with the strategy. And most companies don't have that. They do one thing and then they go to another provider and buy another thing and to another and buy another. So you get a website from one company, you then go and buy an SEO management campaign from another. You might pay someone to manage your social media posting, but nothing is gelling, nothing connects. There is no coherent strategy between any of it. And it's very confusing if you flip it around. It's very confusing for the consumers. So if you're a landlord and you're looking for a management agent to work with, it is very, very hard to find someone online now that you can clearly understand why they are the agent for you. Because most letting agents or estate agents are very similar. So if you Google estate agent in and whatever your location is, and you start clicking from one website to another, most of them are with the same message, very similar type website, and it's just unclear why you should go with them. And this is probably one of the biggest problems with most agents, is that they look the same and they're making it very hard for the consumer to choose. And if that's the case, then they end up in a price battle. They're starting to discount their fees and all that sort of stuff because they don't have anything else to make them stand out or to be very clear in the way they articulate their differences. With the Zim, the messages are very clear, and they knew what they were doing and why they wanted to achieve this. And all we had to do is just extract it from them and put it online in a way that makes sense for their customers.
I love the way you say all we have to do was extract it, like it was that. I mean, that is half the challenge, isn't it? You know, it's so easy to have it caught up here, but getting that vision out meaningfully onto the digital platform is very difficult.
It is difficult, but there is a process that one can follow. And yes, it does take time, but that's where the difference between an agent that just wants to cover the bills every month versus an agent that wants to grow comes in. So with growing, they're growing pains, and you have to invest into the things that bring you the opportunities to grow. And unfortunately, it is not cheap. Marketing is never going to be cheap. If anything, going forward, the channels like Facebook and Google will only be more expensive because there's more competitors on using them. There may be new channels coming on, etc., etc. But it's, you know, you either join the game and you reap the benefits, or you can stay with the portals and pay the portals and take your little percentage there.
You know, but it is a value proposition, isn't it? And the lovely thing about most marketing these days is actually the ability to record return on investment is better than it's ever been before, isn't it? So yes, you may have to pay £1, but you're almost certain to be able to actually assess how much you're getting back in return.
Yes. In most cases you can, yes. So, I mean, this is the thing that we're particularly hot on, is tracking and reporting. And like Azim was saying, in one of a testimonial that he did for me yesterday, Daniel is our campaign manager, who is very hands-on with his numbers and Excel spreadsheets and things like that. And we basically try and track everything from every channel. So when we run campaigns, we want to understand what campaigns bring us the leads, and from there on to understand what leads actually convert. So it is difficult. You can't track everything 100%. But you can track probably 70 to 80% quite comfortably to still get a better understanding and a good picture of where you should be putting your money. And as Azim was saying, if something doesn't work, you need to stop it, rethink the strategy, and then reinvent yourself and go out there again.
And the key point you talk about there, though, is strategy, isn't it? I'm looking around to make sure our marketing people aren't listening, but sometimes I've been guilty myself of, you know, my strategy for marketing on Facebook was literally just pressing the boost button time and time again. You know, oh, it's been seen by 300 people. That's fantastic. None of them relevant. None of them actually delivering anything to the business there. You've got to go into this with a concerted, as you said, vision of what you're trying to achieve, and then a work list of how you're going to achieve that. Just like any detailed project, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, with every agent, if you ask them, you know, why them, most of them would give you a very kind of generic answer, but it's digging into that. Why shall I use your agency for management of my property or to sell my property? Those are the kind of answers that one needs to work on from a strategic point of view, and be very clear who you want to attract. And the reason why you need to do this is because people have different needs. You know, if you're looking for vendors and those vendors are approaching retirement age, their needs in an estate agent who is going to help them sell are very different to a young couple who are looking to sell their first home because they're looking for a bigger home. Their family is growing. So you need to think about who are you looking to help and how are you going to help them, and then structure your business model around it as well, because your service needs to be about helping them achieve the goal, not about finding customers that will buy your service because you charge 1% or 2% or whatever it is, and you want more people to come and buy it from you. It needs to be the other way around. What is it that people need, and how is it that you can help them with that thing? And then the charge comes after, because I don't care if you charge 1% or 2% to sell my house. What I care is that I sell my house, for example, for the maximum amount I can achieve, or for the fastest, for the shortest period of time, or before the stamp duty kicks in again in March. Or, there are many different goals I might have. It's just understanding what the goals are is key in the strategy.
Yeah. Azim, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. We'll let you get back whilst the market is still open and before your competitors talking about Art Division. So thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, and good luck, Nelly.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So Nelly, in terms of for most agents, obviously it's all about leads and instructions. Most agents would say if you have the stock, kind of the buyers and tenants will come. What would you say to that?
Well, yes, for most of them, if they do have the stock, they use the portals in order to attract the buyers and the tenants, and that's absolutely fine. But the vendors and the landlords don't necessarily go to the portals to find the agents to help them. There are many ways that one would find an agent. If I go a few years back, perhaps the more traditional way would be to walk down the high street and see who's got the shop front. That's gone now. You might say, well, leafleting works. Perhaps for some, there is a small percentage that would pick up your leaflet at the right time and give you a call, and you will be one of the three. But the reality of it is that we consume information from so many different channels and in so many different ways. You have a mobile phone in your pocket 24/7. You have your laptop or your iPad or your desktop computer. And so we jump from one software to another. We go to Facebook, we search on Google, we click on various different platforms, and really it's the agents who consistently are everywhere their customers are that will get the best exposure. And it goes hand in hand, because I have someone I spoke with a few weeks ago who said that they are not going to use Rightmove anymore. They're only going to stick with On the Market because they have added Facebook Marketplace as a way to attract tenants. And they said that by far, Facebook Marketplace has been their best platform for generating tenant leads. That surprised me. I didn't know that. And I must say, we don't use Facebook Marketplace for clients because our role is not necessarily to attract tenants per se from Facebook. We mostly go after landlords and vendors in our campaigns, or buyers. We do a lot of new build campaigns attracting buyers. But that surprised me. So that also goes to show that it's not one approach to all. Agents need to really find what's the best platform and best way to attract the leads that they need for the business to grow. So if that's Facebook Marketplace, which is free, then that's a good solution.
Excellent. And so in 2021, what should agents be doing to try and attract more leads?
So there are three assets, I would say, that are probably the most important assets to focus on. There are other things that one can do, but if you have to choose what to focus your time on over the next, say, maybe 2 to 3 months, I would say number one is your website. And I'm not talking about a cheap templated website where you splash all your awards on the homepage. I'm talking about a website which has a strategy with regards to what content are you going to put there. What are the pages that you're looking to optimize and rank, right? So I see a lot of estate agent websites that are literally off-the-shelf type templates on a conveyor belt approach that lack calls to action. So you go from one page to another, but it feels like a dead end. You don't really know how to progress. So if I'm a landlord looking for either a particular information or how to contact someone. The journeys are not smooth. And also, they lack the consistency from an optimization point of view. I think agents fundamentally don't understand how their consumers are searching for them. So if I'm a landlord searching for a solution to a problem, for example, say I have a problem with my tenants not paying, that's a fantastic blog post opportunity to get those landlords to your website and educate them. So it's about investing in a site that's suitable for your marketing campaign in order to attract, engage, and convert into leads and subscribers. So that's like the core of basically what agents should be focusing on. The second asset is a blog. Again, I touched upon the fact that a lot of agents are having blogs out there, but they blog about things that they care about, not what their customers care about. Yeah. And that needs to be something that needs to change if they want to attract more people to their website. Again, customers don't care about what awards they have won and the personal things. Those are nice to put on your website, I'm sure, but really, if I have a tenant that's not paying my rent, that's the prime worry. How do I get this tenant to pay rent? How do I ensure that I can sustain my mortgage payments? That's the thing that I'm looking for answers and help with. And the blog is there really to educate your customers and to engage with them. And if done correctly, it can increase the traffic to your website. We have clients at the site we launched in June, July, had a 337% increase in traffic the following month. Most of that came from blog content, purely because the way we restructured the site allowed the site to rank better. Yeah. And that resulted in a huge number of prospects coming to the site. That doesn't mean that every single client or visitor is going to convert into a paying customer, but this is like putting your for sale board on the high street and having crowds walking past, seeing your brand and now knowing about you and knowing that you can help them with something, and it's potentially free. And yeah. The third one, which is very important, is an email nurturing system. So again, if I go back to the kind of whole journey of the customer, is that first you need to have a strategy of how to reach more people and make them aware of your brand. And when I say more people, you need to focus on the type of people you really want to attract. Then the second is, how do you engage with them? And the third that you need to think about is, how do you build an email database, an email list of prospects you can nurture? By doing that, you're also solving the problem of, if they're not ready to progress now, you're giving yourself an opportunity to progress them at a later date. Because just because I'm a landlord and just because I have a property doesn't mean I need your service now. I might need it at some point in future. So email nurturing is something that will increase your leads over a period of time. So the bigger the database of prospects, also that goes hand in hand with quality content that you're sending them on a regular basis, but the higher the chance of getting leads from that database, rather than what Azim was saying, going straight for the kill. So most campaigns that agents run are literally going straight for book your free valuation, click here to let us value your property. Not everyone is ready for evaluation there and then, but that in fact, about maybe 3% of your market is in that phase. Most are missing the 97%, which are still potentially going to convert at some point, but they're being ignored. Yeah. And so we like to fish in that 97% pot, as well as the 3.
Rather than that kind of wham bam thank you ma'am kind of approach, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just on the email marketing side of things, is it becoming less important, the email marketing side of things, because obviously your inbox is such a congested place now that it's so hard to get people's attention? Is that something that you still need to fight for aggressively, or should you be looking at new communication mediums, like WhatsApp and everything else? Or is it just a case that you need the classic blend of all of these different mechanisms?
Well, again, every software or a campaign like this has a particular aim and need. So yes, emails are numbers game again. If you have 1,000 landlords on your database and on average only 20% open your emails, then only 200 of those landlords will see your messages at any given point. But that's not to say that emails don't work, quite the contrary. And it's about timing as well, because if you send something that's helpful and useful, people would like to receive it and they will read it in their time, when they're ready, when they have a need. So me as a landlord, I don't read landlord related things every 5 minutes. I might sit down, have 5 minutes, go through my emails, find something I want to read at that moment in time. So it isn't a case of, email marketing 100% works. It works to a degree, but it's very important to have it as part of your mix. WhatsApp, it's about communicating. It's in exchange, for example, of a chatbot on your website or maybe a form. It doesn't compete with email marketing in any shape or form. And it's just a way of, if I want to ask a question, someone answers in their time directly on my phone. I know Paul from Stitch is offering a service that is very good and exciting. But again, every tool like this has its place as long as it's within the strategy of what the clients are looking to achieve. And also it's to do with how your customers are looking to communicate. So if most people are now using WhatsApp, then that's a great way to communicate. But that's not to say that it's a nurturing system. I wouldn't want people or estate agents to be nurturing me via WhatsApping me. That would annoy me. So you got to think about how people want to be communicated with.
Excellent. And you mentioned before when you were talking about agents tend to talk about what they want to talk about, right? Why do you think there is such a disconnect, that misunderstanding of what their audience is actually looking for?
I think actually Azim said something which I didn't think about, but agents are not taught to be marketers. They are salesmen in their core. And when they join an agency, I think that the core training that is being provided to them is how to sell, not how to market. And they talk about marketing, but more in a how do I present a property type marketing. So how do I take the pictures? How do I load them onto the portal? How do I write the blurb that goes on the portal? For an estate agent, that is marketing. But in lead generation world, marketing is very different and it's very complicated. I mean, I've spent 20 years learning that, and that's my core area of expertise. I don't know how to sell properties, and I don't know much about how to take pictures of a property and upload them onto the portals. And I think this is probably where estate agents need to accept that marketing is not simple, but it's absolutely necessary for their business. And they need to find a way to integrate proper marketing together with their sales approach for both to work together rather than separately or in clash of some sort.
They've got to work. You're quite right there, actually. As you say, it makes total sense to me. They've got to work hand in glove together, haven't they? Essentially, I've dealt with some of the best salespeople over, in the industry, but many of those, there's very few of those that are actually kind of prospectors, essentially marketeers at that end of it, and are very good closers as well. Like so many things in life, you tend to specialize. But as a business, you do need to have both strings to your bow, don't you? Because otherwise you're going to miss out on the whole picture.
Yes. And that's the thing, you don't have to do everything yourself for a start. No. This is why you need to delegate, and you need to surround yourself with people that are better than you at certain things. So if you are not good at sales, hire a good salesman. And if you're not good at marketing, hire a good marketer.
My team here at Kerfuffle, Nelly, tell me that they're all better at me than everything. So it's a bit depressing for me.
Well, that's good. You're very lucky.
I am. Yes, it makes recruitment that much easier.
Yes.
You spoke about the three very important assets there, obviously, looking forwards. How much, and of those, you can create, obviously, you can help agents create websites. Can you help them with the blog side of things as well?
Yeah, so the core of what we do is we create websites in-house. We've actually created a new product we've been working on over the past 12 months. One of the hurdles we were having is that to create a good website takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of planning, and it costs money. It costs quite a bit. So depending on how much attention to detail one wants into a website, it goes into thousands of pounds. Now, of course, you've got the likes of Starberry, who are experts in producing beautiful, amazing websites. And if that's what one wants, then that's the kind of company they should go for. We are not at all on that level, and that's not where we want to be. But what we want is to have websites that help us with our marketing campaigns. And what we're finding that probably 98% of websites that are designed and built out there for estate agents are not suitable for marketing. They have not taken into account the basic principles of what's required in order to rank a website in search engines, attract more customers, allow the right content to be uploaded, and the structure as well, in order to get the results that they want. So we created a product which I like to see it a bit like a German prefabricated house. So we've created about 70% of all the things a website needs for an estate and letting agent. And then we spend the remaining 30% in personalizing it and creating the pages using our modules. It's a bit like using Lego bricks. So you've got certain pieces that are given to you, but how you position them is up to you. So they're not template websites in their true sense that you kind of get what you're given, but at the same time, they're not truly bespoke because we don't have to start from scratch. So
you're not recreating the wheel each time. Basically.
That's precisely it. We're not starting from scratch, which allows us to create websites much faster and cheaper as well, which was our goal. And ultimately, the reason why this was very important for us is because when we had a client who wants to grow, wants to attract more landlords, wants to attract more vendors, and they come with a website that is impossible to work with, then we had that next hurdle as well. Mr. Client, you got to invest in 15, 20,000 pounds for a new website in order to achieve all of this. And on top of it, you need to invest another X thousands of pounds for your marketing. And that was a no-go for many. That was not something that many could afford. So with the product that we produced, we basically solved the problem of having a marketing-ready website that we can go to market. In fact, the fastest we've turned around a website was 2 weeks.
Wow.
Which is phenomenal. But within a month.
So people panicking, obviously, at the moment, having gone into this new lockdown period, they might be thinking, well, there's no point in talking to a company like yourself, but you're saying, actually, there's still merit in having a conversation.
Yeah, so our websites, they start from £1,500 for a setup, and then we charge a monthly fee, which includes the hosting, maintenance, and support. But that's very accessible for most agents, I would hope. Most of our clients are established independent agents. So that allows us to go to market fairly quickly with a new website and have the right foundation. And then we spend our time over the following months adding more content, further optimizing, ensuring that the site ranks correctly, and then working on specific campaigns to drive the right traffic to the right places and capturing that audience in an email nurturing campaign or a remarketing campaign. So the ultimate goal for most of our clients is to generate leads. So that's the bit that we work on. So yeah.
And we've spoken about campaigns. How do you judge if a campaign has been a success, or indeed, obviously, just as importantly, if it's been a failure? What are the mechanisms for actually reviewing the efficacy of those campaigns?
Yes, that's a very good question. Really, it all goes back to the strategy. Because, again, most agents tend to invest into a campaign of any sort with the exact same expectation, and then they feel disappointed if it doesn't work. So they go to Facebook and say, well, I've spent £1,000 on Facebook, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Well, it didn't bring anything. But what was the goal of that campaign? So if you put an ad which says, we are the best estate agent here, come and book your valuation, and you get 3 people that click on your ad and you've spent that kind of money, is the ad the problem? Is it your strategy the problem, or is Facebook the problem? So really the end-to-end service needs to start with the strategy. And for you to judge whether something is success or not, you need to understand where this particular channel sits. So, for example, blogging is not about lead generation. So you cannot judge a blogging campaign based on the number of instructions that you get, because the aim of a blogging campaign is not to book people for market appraisals. It's for awareness. It's a top of the funnel type campaign to get more people to your website and get your brand known, to get them into some sort of nurturing system. At the same time, if you are running a pay-per-click campaign, search with Google, then this is with high intent. So in this instance, perhaps the number of leads that you get directly is a better way of judging whether a campaign works or not. So you got to look at the purpose of a campaign with the result that you should be getting, and then deciding whether that works or not. But every campaign needs to work in conjunction with every other campaign rather than in isolation.
Okay, brilliant. And going back to the original question, Google or Facebook, what works best for estate agents?
Okay, so Google or Facebook, they both work, but they are very different in the way they work. Google is based on an intent, so it's a search result or question and answer scenario, and it's about people that have specific problems and they're looking for a specific solution. So they have a need. And the reason why Google works very, very well is because you are getting leads from motivated customers. They already have the need, they've established what they need they have. And if you have positioned yourself there to help them with that, then they're more likely to engage with you. Facebook, however, is a very different beast in a sense that you don't know necessarily if they're searching for you, not searching for you, if they have the need at that moment in time, but you know their common characteristics. So if I'm looking for sellers approaching retirement age, then I've identified something in common between my customers, and then I'm going after only that particular pot of prospects, and I'm exposing a message that possibly will attract them. So they're completely different, but in both cases, they work very, very well. We've had success across the board. Of course, not everything works, so you got to try. And marketing is about trial and error. It's not a case of, right, if you do this, it 100% will work, and if you don't do that, whatever. It can work for one client, and the same thing may not work for another because of location, because of how the brand is perceived. There are many reasons, but it is a case of, both Facebook and Google work. It all starts again with what your goals are and how far and wide you want to go.
But basically just make sure you're really prestigious in terms of measuring how you're getting on with it, and obviously stopping if you're not getting the returns and doubling down where you can see that there's benefits.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you an example with a Facebook campaign that we ran not too long ago, and the intent of that was to build a database of landlords. So it wasn't the case, of course we want to have conversions as well. We wanted those landlords to then progress to a phone call. But ultimately, we wanted to build a big database of landlords that we can nurture over a period of time. So if out of the 1,050 booked a phone call, 950 didn't, we still had 950 leads to work on over the next 12 months. And so that's a very good campaign to run on Facebook. It's a campaign that could fill up your pipeline of prospects. Whereas Google is very good for consistent leads coming in, month out, because when people search, they've already established the fact that they need help with something. So you've got to be there all the time.
Is it too, obviously my name gives it away. Am I being too simplistic, Simple Simon style, to say that Google is representing that 3%, the transactional ones, I want it now, and Facebook is the 97%, or is that too narrow?
Well, actually, you're not very far off from that. I would say that's very right for how you should judge AdWords. But with SEO, it's very much down to content. So if you're searching for the answer of how to evict my tenant fast, that's not to say I'm part of the 3%, because unless you're going after the bailiffs, perhaps that's the 3% for someone that can help you with eviction. But a letting agent who is positioning themselves with some content that will help you in the process will potentially convert you later down the line. So you got to have think about, again, what are you doing with your content and what are you ranking for? So if I rank for estate agents in Wimbledon and someone searches for that, that is part of the 3%, yes.
Yeah, okay. Look, I'm sold. Okay, marketing's important. You've convinced me of that over the course of this hour. Do you think they should subcontract all of their marketing agents, or is there a role for in-house staff? Should they be, or is it literally just ad hoc? Each agency needs to make its own decisions based on the quality of staff and talents they already have?
Yeah, so the agents that we've worked with that are really keen on growing tend to have at least one person that has the role of a marketing coordinator. And my personal advice would be that if you are serious about growing your business and you are serious about making digital marketing work for your business, have at least one person, whether it's part-time or full-time, who works inside your agency, who is in touch with all your sales negotiators and is able to communicate out with any subcontractors the message that you want to portray, because it makes it so much easier to have that coordinator dedicated to moving forward all the projects when it comes to marketing, rather than typically the business owners being involved, because the business owners are the bottlenecks.
Yeah.
So when you want to approve something, and I'm talking again now from an external supplier in, sometimes we might have to wait for a very long time to hear back from an owner, while when we work with the marketing coordinator, things just move forward a lot faster. So I would say the best scenario would be at least one in-house marketing coordinator with experts that you're employing for whatever specific tasks that you want, because you don't need a full-time SEO expert or a full-time AdWords expert. What you need is to have someone that has helped you to put the strategy together, and then you need someone to coordinate the execution of that strategy.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, great stuff there. Right, in terms of, I believe, so if I'm taking anything from this, really, it's that obviously there are companies out there that can do, they can just do websites. They may do those very well. There's also marketing agencies that will advise you on there. It seems your sweet spot seems to be that you can help with a combination of these elements and keep that consistency between, as you would call it, the different assets, whether that's the website or the blog, and the overall marketing strategy. Am I getting that right in terms of where you position yourselves?
Yes, very much so. So for us is all about achieving the goals of the agency. And so we have a very simple 3-step process of how we do that. We start with the strategy so that everybody is clear what we're looking to achieve, us and the team behind me, as well as the client and the team behind them. The second is about creation of assets. So once we know what the goal is, we need to have assets that we can use to go out and attract those customers. And those assets vary from website to ads, if we are to do Facebook advertising or landing pages or email sequences or blogs, anything that can be used to attract those customers to the website. And then the third step is where we go out there and we run the campaigns on behalf of clients. So if we need to rank their website, we do their SEO. If we need to write their blogs, we do that. If we need to run their AdWords campaign, we do that, etc., etc.
Cool.
So
great. Nelly, it's that time of the show where I get very needy and I start asking for things. I believe you've got a deal on the table for our wonderful Kerfuffle members. Is that right? Would you mind just giving us a bit of an overview there?
Yes, that's correct. So, I mean, really the type of service that I believe is probably the most important for agents at the moment, especially this time of the year and we're coming to lockdown, is to improve their strategy and their assets and to get their organic ranking in place. Because when you organically rank for the core type of key phrases that your prospects are searching for every single month, you will have consistent leads for months to come. Everything else is you got to put more money in order to get more, but that's the foundation of any estate agent marketing campaign. And so we're offering, for anyone that books a free consultation with me, I offer up to an hour consultation. I'll go through what you're doing at the moment and what you could be doing to achieve your goals. But if you then progress to a marketing campaign, we will provide 25% of the first 3 months of that campaign.
Brilliant. And from what I understand here, my helpful little elves have been working in the background. That's normally worth £1,500, isn't it? So
that is, yeah, it's 1,500 or more, because it depends on how big the agency is, how far and wide they want to go with their marketing. So if they have one branch is different, and if you have 3, 4, 5 branches and then you cover multiple locations. But yeah, that's the bare minimum you will save.
Excellent. Well, that's fantastic. And just reading that bit as well, clients who undertake this service with Art Division typically see an increase of 50 to 500% in traffic within the first 6 months. Yeah. This results in a similar increase in inquiries via their website. That's a hell of a claim, and I love people coming out punching like that. That's fantastic. It's important to point out that deal's only available to the end of November, but guys, come on, you haven't really got any excuse not to. You've got time on your hands now, really, haven't you? And from the next week at least. So, I urge everybody, please have a look at Art Division's landing page on Kerfuffle as normal. Reach out to Nelly directly, and obviously just mention that you're a Kerfuffle member to make sure you can take advantage of that deal. Nelly, is there anything? We've had a fantastic hour. I told you there was no chance we were going to do this in half an hour. Certainly the amount we've had to cover. What is there anything else you feel we need to that people need to know about Art Division, or have we covered it all?
I think we're pretty much there. Yes, I mean, all I would say is just think positively for 2021. I think there is a lot of gain. Someone who is established already in the industry, you already have the foundations. You just need to improve a little bit more on your digital assets. And I think many agents can have an amazing year ahead of them.
What a perfect uplifting message to finish that show on. That's absolutely fantastic. Nelly, thank you very much. Thanks for thinking of our Kerfuffle members here. Wish you all the very best, and we'll obviously catch up on a future podcast as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Simon. Nice having you.
Cheers. Bye.